those minutes because they have to be in tomorrow.
Okay, so,
We can turn it on now.
There's a remote right there.
It's gonna be Netflix when you turn it on.
do you mind opening the door, Mark, since you're out? Okay.
All right. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, it looks like we have all our members tonight. From the right to left, I guess we can introduce ourselves. We have, all right, it looks like we have all our members tonight. From the right to left, I
Mary
guess we can
Soares.
introduce ourselves.
Rick Wareham.
We have, looks like everybody is in attendance, Alan. You can enjoy the public over there today.
Mary Soares.
All right.
Rick Wareham.
The minutes from the last meeting attendance, Alan, available yet? Enjoy the have about public over there today of the last meeting to get through. They will be the minutes from the last meeting at 3:10 are not available yet. I have about 30 more minutes of the last meeting to get through. They were taking a while, so I get everything.
What is the plan for?
Last meeting was
handling this
4:14.
It was 4:14.
Well, that's what I asked
I-
Mark, if we have a,
Taking a while, so I get everything. There's a posting out there. I spoke to Tony about 2 weeks ago to get a posting onto the
well, that's what I asked
iTown
Mark.
page and
we
anything that
have
doesn't cost money, so.
Is
There's a
there a
posting
posting?
out there, and I only about 2 weeks ago
email
today
today
about
about
if we could possibly use somebody else, anything that doesn't cost money, so. Because it's too overwhelming. So it's out there, and I also talked to
So
Dino
who-
today
how
about
much
if we could
did-
possibly use somebody else that was a secretary in the past. It's a paid position, yes. Because it's too overwhelming right now to.
So who, how much do we pay? Okay,
I know, I just. It's a
Right.
paid position, yes.
right,
We're actually getting done.
okay,
I know, Yeah.
right, alright,
So, and it's based on experience as well.
right.
We're actually getting done.
I wasn't aware of it.
We actually, as a commission,
Right.
did not set the
Right.
salary for the secretary, because that is a
Right.
town employee, the town.
I wasn't unaware that there was.
salary.
Actually,
We actually, as a commission, do not set the salary for the secretary, because that is a town employee, the town. All right, correspondence, we have some correspondence here. We did that Wildlife Journal. And I have some stuff in my laptop bag, which is in my truck, but I'm gonna give it to you. All right, correspondence, we have some correspondence. We also have some correspondence here, which you guys will really good kick out. I have some stuff in my laptop bag, which is the quote for the laptops. And we also have some correspondence here, which is at 50 cents.
Nope.
They're not shopping at Walmart. It is the quote for the laptop. That is for, and it comes to $8,537.50.
Nope.
They're not shopping at Walmart. Go figure something else out. That is
I like the
for,
5 on Androids for $75 each.
that's for 5 laptops. Pass it around, you guys. We'll figure something else out.
I like the 5 on Androids for $75 each.
No.
No, just needs to be able to open PDF files from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, just no. And just,
No, just needs to be able to
Chromebooks.
open PDF
Office.
files from there.
It's free. It's Excel, that's free. Yeah, so you don't need anything. You literally download that one app, don't pay anything, don't just, it's free anyways, it's Open Office. It's free. It's Excel, that's free. I saw that in the mailbox today, I said, geez, this guy's going to
Oh,
Dell?
no, thank you.
So. I saw that in the mailbox today, I said, geez, this guy's going to
Oh,
Dell?
no, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll start to push back on the 4 copies.
15 minutes.
We'll say that we require 4 copies. Yeah, so. Yeah, we'll start to. There was an expedited one that came in this afternoon, and I didn't get to email that to you because I literally just found out about it while I was down there earlier. There was an expedited one that came in this afternoon, and I didn't get to email that to you because I literally just found out about it while I was down there earlier. So you guys are more than welcome to review this. I haven't viewed it yet either. Put that to rest. We're not gonna do that.
No,
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
especially not for $3,000
Go ahead.
worth of
Do I have a
labor.
motion not to approve this? Not gonna do that.
No,
No,
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
especially not for
Go
$3,000
ahead.
worth
Do
of
I have a
labor.
motion not to
seriously.
approve this?
I will make a motion to not approve that.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Does it require a motion?
It does,
Put
it
in
would.
the waste basket?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I will make a motion to
Alright,
not approve
moving on.
that.
Any other correspondence,
All in
anybody?
favor?
Aye.
Town forest conservation land assessment. Alright, moving on. Any other correspondence anybody has? Trash up at, Prairie Hill, and the trees, town forest conservation land assessment. Anything? Gage Hill, see that, well, Rob went picked up some trash up at, Prairie Hill.
Right,
And
May
the
6th,
trees, the
Is that
dead
happening?
trees have been
When's that
removed at,
May 6th,
May 6th.
Gage
which is
Hill
a Tuesday,
as well.
I'll be there
And then you
Saturday.
guys are going to Union Meadows.
I'm gonna do the
right,
upper
May
trail.
6th.
Is that happening? When's that happening?
May 6th,
Okay.
May 6th.
which is a Tuesday.
Hey, my little bag. I'll be there
time?
Saturday. I'll be there at 9 in the morning.
Yeah,
do the
you won't
upper-
find them anyways.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right.
I'm gonna be up in the woods,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the high trail,
Okay,
in my little bag.
all right, what time?
Anything else on the, town forest
I'll be
conservation?
there at 9 in the morning.
Oh, yeah,
You
and
won't
they,
find
went
them
in and put
All
some.
right.
I'm gonna be up in the woods,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the high trail.
Okay.
Gage Hill as well, so that's all.
All right.
Looks great.
Anything else on the, town forest conservation land assessment? Oh, yeah, and they,
So
went
under
in and put
3,
some,
adopt a conservation
top
area
layer
program
at,
activities?
Yep,
Is
Gage
that
Hill
a
as well. No, that was-
applications?
Oh, we're on to that one now.
Okay, we don't have any applications, but I'd love to take the,
So under
this
3,
opportunity to let
adopt a
Tom talk
conservation
about
area program activities.
Union Meadow
Yep.
and what we
No,
have to do
applications?
with the
Oh,
story.
we're on to that one, I'm done with
Okay,
this.
we don't
real
have
quick.
any
So
applications,
we
but
have
I'd
somebody
love
that
to take
adopted
the
Gage Hill.
this opportunity to let Tom talk
has
about
retired from
Union
adoption
Meadow
on Gage Hill.
and what he wants to do with the story.
Paul, as soon as I'm done with this real quick, so we have somebody that adopted Gage Hill, that, so he has retired from, stepped down from adopting that property now, it's Paul, it's too much for him to handle now. So, but he's been doing it for the last like 10 years up there, so he has, stepped down from adopting that property now, and we could do it as a group or for him to handle now, we could adopt that, it doesn't have to be conservation, but we could just, adopt in that
We could do that.
area.
Once or twice a year, just.
We could do it as a group or something like that, and we could adopt that, it doesn't have to be conservation, do that as well. And some other thought was that,
Once or twice a year, just.
that I would propose to the board as well, as maybe in the future, you know, we try to get some money for the adopt, I don't know. And some other thought was but it'll be another, something to think about, that I would propose to the board as well, businesses can adopt it, and they can put their sign up there or something. We try to get some money for the adopt, I don't know if we wanna go that route, but it'll be another, something
Paul
to think
Johnson, I
about.
think his name is.
Paul Johnson, because then businesses can adopt it, and they can put their sign up there or something.
Maybe we should do a letter to.
I think like
Yes.
the
Some
state
places
does
do,
for the
but we don't
roads,
have to.
when people
Johnson.
adopt the road
Could you, Paul
areas.
Johnson, there you go.
It-
How long's he been doing?
Just a
Paul
long time,
Johnson.
No, but how long?
a long
Maybe we should do
time.
a letter to.
I
Yeah,
think
one
like
minute,
the,
exactly how
like
long
the
he's
state
adopted.
does for the roads, when people adopt the
He
road
was a member of
areas.
that commission.
It-
How long's he been doing?
Paul
Long time,
Johnson.
No, but how long's
a
that?
long time, I'll send them to you. You want me to find out exactly how long he's adopted
Yeah, I
for?
could
Okay.
reference
No,
it.
but what I was saying is just
He
that
was a member of
the
the
state gives, you know, anybody who adopts the highway, adopt the
I will.
highway
I'll
signs.
send it to you.
I think our thank you for anybody, if we did a business that was gonna adopt it.
No, but what I was
It'd
saying
be a
is
sign
just
that
as
said,
the
you know,
state
this
gives,
business,
you know,
adopted.
anybody who
I
adopts
don't
the
think we need
highway,
to do
adopt
anything
the highway
monetarily
signs.
for
I think
anybody.
our thank you for anybody, if we did a business that was gonna adopt it, would be a sign that said, you know,
All right,
this
I
business
guess Tom
adopted it.
Daniels,
I don't
would you like to
think we
come
need
up?
to do anything monetarily.
You adopting something?
No, not anything more.
Oh. Well, these are applications, I guess Tom Daniels.
Right, but this,
would you
I,
like to come
I
up?
think this is a point where we could
You
talk about it
adopting
because
something?
we apply, you know, we
Oh,
applied to
well, these are applications.
Seward,
Mhm.
Union
Right, but
Meadows.
this, I
And
think
one of
this
the
is a
things we
point
wanna
where
do
we
as a
could talk
youth
about it
business
because
story
we apply, you know, we
trail
applied to
at Union Meadows.
Mm-hmm.
And
Seward.
Union
Last
Meadows.
time we
And
talked
one of
about
the
it for a
things we
long
wanna
time,
do is a youth,
Tom would like to
is
make
a
his
story
presentation about it. He has
with
much
trail
more
at Union
to say.
Meadows. And
Plus, he's a better
So-
salesman than I am. Last time
So
we
thanks.
talked
So,
about it for a long
my name's
time,
Tom
and
Daniels,
Tom would like to
and
make
I
his
am with,
presentation
Wakefield
about it. He has
Mines.
much more.
And one of the projects that we're working on here in the
Say.
community
Plus,
is
he's a better
story
salesman.
walks. So we have
thanks.
six
So, my
story
name's Tom
walks
Daniels,
planned, and I am with
Wakefield
Wakefield
Mines
Mines in Milton. And one of the
And what
projects
a
that
story
we're working
walk
on here in
is
the community
it's an outdoor
is,
activity
story
that
walks.
encourages
So we have
families
six
to
story
get
walks
outside
planned in
and to
Wakefield
be together
and in Milton.
and
What a story walk
combine
is
being
it's
outdoors
an outdoor
and
activity that
trail walking
encourages families
reading.
to get outside.
And so the idea is that
be
we
together
take a book
and to
and we
combine
combine
being
outside
outdoors
and
it's gauge
trail
the age
walking
group that
with
we are
reading.
looking at with the books.
And so
So the
the
idea
idea
is that we take a
3
book
to 6-year-old
and
range
we
in terms
put
of
it outside
ages,
And so the idea is
gauge
to
the
get
age
families
group
out
that we
to be
are
reading
looking
these
at
books
with the books
and to
is
spread
in
them
that
out along the
3
trails
to
to encourage them to
6-year-old
walk along
range
the trails.
in terms of their ages.
So we would like to put
So
one
the
of
idea
these
is to
get families
books
out to be
on
reading these
the
books
Union and
and to
Meadows
spread them out
conservation
along
area,
the trails to encourage
starting
them
at
to
the
walk
parking
along the
lot
trails.
and
So we would like to
along
put
the
one of
edge
these
of the
story
road, what
books
I'm gonna call the
on
road that
the heads down to the
Union
water
Meadows conservation
and
area.
encourages people to
starting at the
go to
parking
Union
lot
Meadows and experience the
going
trail,
along
because we're gonna
edge of
obviously
the
promote
road
that we
what
have
I'm
these
gonna
story
call
walks
the road
out
that
there,
go
heads down to
and
the
have
water.
them
Encourages
encourages
that
people
trail
to
and
go to Union Meadows,
use
the
experience
book
the trail
to
pull
pull
them
them
down to the
promote
water.
that we have these
Right,
story
so the
walks
idea
out
would
there
be that you would
and
put
have
one of these
them,
pages, experience that trail,
at a distance that
and
would encourage
use
them
the
to walk
book to pull
further,
them
for
down
them
to
to
the
also
water.
be able to see that
Right,
there's
so the
another
idea
page.
would be that you
And
would
there's
put one
another
of these
page.
pages. So
At a
altogether,
distance that
there,
would
depending
encourage
on
them
the
to
book,
walk
there's about 20
further,
of these,
but for them to
to
have
also be able
these,
to see that there's another
temporary
page.
signs.
There's another
So
page.
these are just,
So altogether,
just stakes.
they're,
They
depending
get
on
pounded
the
into the
book,
ground.
there's about
So
20 of these.
this is
of
one
these,
particular book, so
temporary.
these
signs.
two pages would be
These are just
basically
uh,
right next to each other at the
They're
start.
just stakes.
Right,
So
they
it
get
tells
pounded into the
people what
ground.
it is. It's a storybook
So
trail.
this is
Responsive
one
for this
particular
particular
book, so these
and
two
then the
pages
first
would
page
be
of the book.
basically
And then
right next to each other at the start.
Each trail is a
So
little
it
bit
tells
different,
people
but
what
in
it
this
is,
case
it's
here,
storybook
Union
trail.
Meadows,
We have a
you're
sponsor for
probably
this
talking
particular book.
30 feet
Down
down
the
the
path,
first page, there'll be
book.
another one.
And then 30 feet further down, there'll be
Each
another
trail is a
one.
little bit different, but in this
So
case
20
here at
altogether.
Union Meadows.
Roughly,
you're
depends on the,
probably
each
talking
book is a little
30
different.
feet down the path.
So the
there'll be
books that
another
we have
one.
planned
30
for
feet
the
further
Union
down, there'll be
Meadows,
another one.
How many total?
So 20
I
altogether.
know you're all
Roughly,
probably very
depends on the,
familiar
each
with
book
these
is a little
books.
different.
We've
So
got
books that
Crunch
we
the
have
Shy
planned
Dinosaur,
for the Union Meadows.
we have Bats at the Ball Game.
Cause I know you're all probably very familiar with these.
Those
books.
darn squirrels.
We've got
Can I
Crunch
Be
the
Your
Shy
Dog?
Dinosaur. We have Bats at the Ball Game.
Circus Ship, and Whistle for Willie.
So the idea was that
those
we would have
darn
a different
squirrels.
book there for a month.
Can I Be Your
So
Dog?
each month, these books are gonna change.
Circus Ship,
Each of these
and
locations.
Whistle for
in
Willie.
these 6
So the
areas
idea was that we
around
would have a different
Wakefield
book there for a month.
So
lots
each
of moving
month, these
parts
books
to
are
it.
gonna change.
So we have
lines, so these have all
each of
been
these
created,
locations
and
these
we have
6
lines
areas
club
around
members that are
Wakefield and
Milton.
have
Have been,
lots of moving
have
parts to it.
volunteered to
So we have
maintain
lines,
so
each
these have
of
all
the 6
been
particular
created,
sites. So
and
they're all
we
made,
have Lions Club
they're all
members
ready to be
that
put
are,
out.
with permission
have
from the board,
been,
have
and then we have,
volunteered to maintain.
in this case, we have
each
2
of the 6
individuals who are
particular
responsible
sites.
for
So they're all
putting it
made,
up. They're all ready to be put up,
changing them
with
over every month,
permission from
and
the
also
board.
making sure,
And then we have,
over the course of the month,
in this
that they
case,
don't
we
get
have 2
damaged,
individuals
they
who are
don't get
responsible
fall down,
for
the
putting it up.
wind doesn't knock them down,
Changing
whatever
them over
might-
every month,
might come
and
up
also
over the
making
course of
sure
that- of that
over the
month.
course of the
So
month that they don't get
I've already
damaged,
put,
they don't get
I
fall
put one up
down,
at
the
the ball
wind
fields,
doesn't knock them
and
down,
we also have
whatever
another one at
might,
the school,
might come up over the
and so
course
both of
that.
those I
that
went to
month.
today.
So,
I've already put, and I wanted to see how
put one up
how
at
they
the
handled
ball
the wind
fields,
over the last couple of
and we
days.
also have another one
and they
at the
needed a
school,
couple of minor,
and so
minor
both of those
repairs,
I
a couple
went
of
to
minor
today.
So we're still learning a little bit about it.
Kind of wanted to
I
see
think
how the,
Union
how
Meadows
they
is gonna
handled
be
the
as
wind
much of a
over the
wind
last
issue
couple of days,
as
and they
having out
needed a
at the
couple of
ball game,
minor,
both Paul
minor
School and
repairs and a
Ball
couple of
Fields.
repairs.
So we're still learning a
They're
little
out
bit
in a
about it.
wide open wind.
I think Union
So
Meadows
they,
isn't gonna
they
be
catch
as
a
much
lot
of a
of
wind issue as
Is it
having it out at
possible
the
to
ball,
get a,
both Paul School
list
and
of the books
ball
that you wanna
fields
put
are-
down there?
Yep, they're
Yep,
out, so
so
I will give you this
wind.
list right here,
So
so
they catch a mark next to it.
Cause this is,
Is it possible to get a list of the books that you wanna
well,
put
that's
down
a,
there?
yep,
That's
that's
just
the first
the-
page, and
that's
that's
the
that
intro.
list right here, yeah, that's all the blah, blah, blah in the book. Cause this is, all the copyright stuff like that.
Yeah.
Young eyes, young eyes.
Well, that's a,
That's
That's
just,
the
I
intro.
took
That's
my
the
son,
intro.
my
yeah,
grandson, I
that's
mean,
all
over
the blah,
to
blah, blah. in the
park
book.
to see what it
all
was
the
at the ball
copyright
field.
stuff like
Yeah,
For young
and
eyes, young eyes.
he
No,
is not a reader
I
yet,
took
but he
my
he
son, my
loves
grandson, I mean, over
books.
to
and
the park to see
the very
what it was at
first
the ballpark.
page.
And he was running from
He
page to
is not a
page to
reader
page
yet,
to be
but
able to see
see this
loves
book.
books.
And I mean, I had to catch
And,
up with him and read it to him, but
From the
it
very
was just
first,
so exciting to see.
page, he was
So,
running
I know we're
from page
concerned
to
because we
page to
have
page
the,
to be able to see this book.
trail work
And I mean, I
that's
had to
gonna be
catch
done.
up with him and read it to
So-
him, but it was just
Yeah, so-
so
so
exciting
exciting
to
to
see.
see.
Obviously, I'm
So-
meetings, and I
I know
saw
we're
that question
concerned
that came
because we
up,
have
and,
the,
you know, so we wanna start
trail
this
work that's gonna be
now,
done.
and then,
So-
you can see
Yeah,
what's
so,
going
Thomas
on,
wanted
right,
to-
right, so I just
What-
pounded into the ground, these are
So you
temporary.
would come down
And I
and
saw
take them
that
out
question
once
and came
you
up,
come
and,
inside.
you know, so we
And-
wanna start this, so it now.
So I think you're
and then,
opening up the bids at the end of
you
May.
can see what they are, right?
Yeah.
They're,
Right,
they're
so-
just pounded into the ground, these are
So you
temporary.
would come down and
We're
take them
gonna
out.
happen.
We're awarding it to that.
Right, what's that?
We're
And
awarding-
awarding it
so
at the end of
awarding
May.
it.
I think
You're-
you're opening up the
yeah.
bids at the end of May.
All we need is,
Yeah.
right,
So-
hey, the guy's gonna show up, you know, June 14th.
We're
It's gonna
award-
happen
we're
now a
awarding
couple
it
days
in May.
before, and we pull
What's
them
that?
all
We're
out.
awarding it
And
at
we
the end of
pull
May,
them out
right? So,
from,
you know, all the ones that would get in
all
the
we need is,
way,
you know,
hey,
right,
the
because
guy's
gonna show up, in June 14th.
some of these are gonna be in the
Just come
ground
down a
and
couple
they're
days before, and we pull
well
them all
past.
out to work.
And we
area
would
that
pull
you
them
guys
out
have
from,
But
you know, all the ones that are getting the work area to the parking
because
lot.
we would just pull them up and
Some of these are
I'll
gonna
play
be
a
in the
little devil's
ground and they're
advocate
gonna
here
be
real quick.
well
Well, I
past.
like the idea, I
area
think
that
that
you
most
guys
people go to a
all the
conservation
ones that
area
are
to
from the
get
work
away from the
area
stress
to the
of
parking lot, we would
and
just pull them up.
signs and et cetera. I'll play a little devil's advocate here real quick. Well, I like the idea, I think that most people go to a conservation area to get away from the stress of life and signs and et cetera. But I think it's a great idea because, you know, it's kind of like 20 signs up there. Catch 22, it's like people go down there that we, you know, get away from and that's stress-free. But at the same time, it's a good, but I think it's a great kids down there, people, kids down there. Catch 22, it's like people go down there.
It's definitely no fun
get
walking
away
down
from
there and seeing all the signs.
stress-free, but at the same
State.
time, it's a good thing for
Those
the kids
plastic
down
signs
there,
that they
people,
had out.
kids down there.
Right, but who likes
No,
those?
it's definitely
This
no
is gonna
fun
be
walking
exciting
down
for
there
them.
and seeing all the signs
I
from the
swear to God, it will be.
Right, I mean, it's, again, it's, you know, what we're trying to do is encourage people to utilize this
Right, but who
conservation land.
likes
That-
those?
Yeah.
This is gonna be exciting for them.
I don't think
I
there's,
swear to God,
you
it
know,
will.
obviously, we're gonna be promoting, again, it's, you know, what we're trying to do is encourage people to utilize, we feel that this conservation land draw a lot of people to an underutilized, there's an area, obviously, we're gonna be promoting this, an awful lot of people who don't know that exists. You know, we feel that this will draw a lot of people to an underutilized area of
Talked to
our
a
town.
fisherman the other day who was
There's an
fishing
awful lot of
across the
people who
street
don't
at
know that it exists.
Circle K, and
It's been
He
under
lives
town control.
less than a quarter mile from there, and talked to a fisherman the other day, who
Right.
was fishing across the street. My curiosity is when you come down to that fork, which way are you going to the water with the sign? Less than going to the right, or are you going to the left, and didn't know it existed?
You can go
Right.
anywhere you want.
Well, what
So,
did
I
he
mean, I
do?
would
Curiosity
probably-
is when you come down to that. Well, he wants to bring him to the water.
I would
Which
think
way
so.
are you
I would
going
think
to
we
the
would
water
wanna
with the
get
signs?
people
Are you going
to
the right, or are
at
you
least
going the
that
left into the picnic area?
spot where they go.
Well, what
So,
did
I
he
mean,
even
I
go
would
that
probably,
far?
Well, he wants to bring him to the water.
I would think so, I would think we can wanna get people to at least that, right,
So you
spot
probably wanna
where
end
they
it somewhere
go.
near the picnic table. then.
Yes, so I mean, my thought would be that we would go to the left and we can steer anywhere that way you want. Versus to
But
lead.
you'd probably, the other things that we have to do before we.
Yes, so I mean, my thought would be that we would go to the left and steer them that way
He allows us to do that.
versus to the right.
One of the other things that we have to do before we go ahead and, because the deeds specifically say if we can put signs on it. And so we just gotta verify the deed allows us, I don't think we looked into that yet. But we can,
My only reasoning for asking that
because
question
the deeds
is because
specifically say if we can put signs in
from the
it.
devil advocate's point of view,
And so we just gotta verify.
they're mostly gonna be going up on that hiking trail that we cut in, which comes around the other side. My only reasoning for asking that question is because picnic area comes back up into the parking lot. So you're only talking about, they're mostly gonna be going up on that hiking trail that we cut in to 60, which comes around the other side before they bypasses picnic area, comes back up in where you have that signage. So you're only
And
talking
we
about
have to verify we
what's that,
own
50
because it's an access
to
way, the
60
town owns it
feet
for sure.
before
But
they
I don't
turn
remember if
left
that's an access
into
way.
that picnic area
And
where
it
you'd
was
have that
owned by
sign.
the towns, and we'd have to verify we own the road, because it's an access road that goes down to the water shore. But I don't remember if that's an access way.
If they went
And
right.
it was owned by the towns.
Yeah.
The road that
Sounds
goes
like
down
a
to
left.
the
Go to
water.
the state, right.
Yeah.
If they went right.
Well, there's
We
actually
own
a
another
private,
parcel down there.
there's a private section in between the two parcels that we own.
Sounds like a left.
They allow us to use.
We have access through Wasco.
Well, there's
We own
actually a
another
private,
parcel down there. Yeah.
there's a private section in between the two parcels that we own too, that they allow us to use.
We have access through one of the properties.
Do these stories avoid the common problem we have in this
Doris-
country of polarization about what's woke and what's not woke?
Well, no, that's why we asked for a list of the books.
Well, no, as long as we stay away from that issue.
Yep, so these books were created by.
What's not woke.
Well, no, that's why
where
we
the
asked for a
books
list
came
of the
from
books.
In terms of the choices,
Is
is
it
that some of these
stay
books
away
are
from that
being borrowed
issue?
from Yep, the so Farmington these Library. books were created
Some of the books
by
are
new to this where the books came from in terms of the choices. Books that is that some of these books are being borrowed from the Farmington Library, from some of the books Lions Club members new to this process, educators, and they were books as well as the Gaffney Library, based on input from Milton Free Library, Lions Club members who are Milton Elementary educators. So there were, as well as a lot of people who reviewed the books, also in terms of making the decisions. Milton Free Library and the Milton Elementary School Library. So there were a lot of people who reviewed the books in terms of making the decisions. Right, so
it looks like it is on the left side.
So the libraries are there, and then the very last page of the, if you get to the end of it, you've got the last story of the page, and then there's another.
So it looks like it is on the left
So
side.
the libraries are there, and then the very last page of the, if you
And
get
it
to the end
also
of it, you have the last
asks
story
the
of the page.
kids to go to the
another
library for
sort of
an
blue
activity
background
that
one
has to do
lists
with
all the
whatever book
different
it is.
sites
Now, does
where
it have a
there are
QR code or anything that they can scan?
We
And
didn't
it
want
also,
technology
it
involved.
asks the kids to
to
go
go
to
to
the library
family
for
and
an activity that
And
has to
so
do
we
with whatever.
did talk
book
about
it is.
that.
Now, does it have
We felt
QR
that
code
this
or
is
anything
an
that they can
opportunity
scan?
for
Yeah,
kids
good.
to get
Leave
away
your phone
from-
at home. Yeah.
No
Right,
screen.
to get away from electronics and to enjoy the outdoors. And so we did talk about that, but we felt that this is
So
an
which,
opportunity
if
for
we're doing
kids to
May,
get
Leave
away
your phone at
from,
home.
Yeah.
right, to get away from electronics and to enjoy the
August.
outdoors. There's no confidence. And not be hung up on that stuff.
So which, if we're
So we
doing
would do
May,
May.
either way, but I'm
Probably
just saying
figure halfway
May's
through
out,
June and we would
assuming
get
July.
it pulled out.
Yeah, so
August. You have no confidence.
are you gonna be able to get all 6 books in there?
Yeah, so we would do
Hold
May.
Either way, but I'm
Probably
just saying
figure halfway
May.
through
Hold on, you're only
June,
trying to
we
put
would-
20
we would get
pages
it pulled out.
Yeah.
One
No,
book.
no, no, no,
Right, one
rotational.
book, but we
Are you gonna be
rotate
able
the
to get
books.
all
So-
rotated
So we
in
take
there?
the,
Every month there's.
That's why
You
I'm
want it-
counting
you want
months.
it-
Right,
Hold on,
so,
hold on, you're only
so,
trying to put
you know,
20
you had asked
pages.
about the pages.
One
No, no,
book.
no, no,
right, one book,
rotational.
but we rotate the books.
20
Okay.
So we take the,
Every month there's.
That's why I'm counting months.
Right, and so, you know, you would ask varies pages depending on the book.
The reason I
So,
ask is because
20,
if we
18,
skipped
18,
June,
20, so
you're looking at the final book being in there
20
in
and
November.
17. So it varies a little bit depending on.
It's not.
We're pulling them at the end of October.
If we
The
skip,
construction that goes on there, max.
you're
is
looking
2.5
at the final
days
book
and-
being in there in
So,
November.
we would go that, right, so.
It's
Let's
not-
say that we're pulling them at the end of October, no matter.
The
working on it,
construction
and
that
we
goes
start
on
the
there,
first week of
max
June,
is
we're gonna pull them
2.5
out.
days
and then-
anyways.
So work is done, we were gonna put them back, and what we put back will let's say that the people come in and, do we
how-
put June back, or do we just
What
put
is,
it July?
what
We're
is
gonna
the
pull
last
them
book?
out.
Okay, when,
and then
so what is
The
the,
work is done,
So
we're
there's
gonna
6
put them
books
back,
starting
and
in
what we
May,
put
ending
back will
October.
depend
So
on October 31st, the last one.
And
Do we
how-
put June back, or do we just
when
move to
is,
July?
when is the last book?
Education
So
is one
what
of
is
the
the,
purposes
So there's 6 books
Right.
starting in May, ending in October. So
Consistent- consistent with-
31st, the last one gets pulled out.
The purpose of this property.
some of these deeds back
Education
before
is
the
one of the
eighties were written a little, real wonky.
Right.
So they say you can put a sign, but not
Consist-
commercial.
Consistent with
So like, I don't know.
the
Well,
purpose,
This isn't
the purpose
This
of this
is-
property.
Some of these deeds back before the
I
eighties
just
were
wanna
written a
mark-
little,
I'm
real
gonna
wonky.
give
So
you
they
this
say you can
sheet,
put
I'm
a
just
sign, but not
marking-
commercial. So like,
which
I don't
books
know.
they
Which
are.
books,
This isn't
or which,
commercial.
Well, this isn't commercial.
this list, I just wanna mark, all 6 locations, give you this sheet.
every-
You wanna read the Union
I
Meadows
will check the deed for
Which books they are.
which books, or which,
Can we just like
this
vote
list,
on it and
all the books,
Provided
all
that
6
the deed-
locations, so it gets, but
So
you
every-
wanna read the
I will
Union
check
Meadows
I will
piece.
check the deed for restrictions on signs.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, we can make a
Can we just
motion,
like vote on it
well,
And then notify
we can
them.
make a
Provided
motion,
that the deed-
for discussion, and then, yeah, with those amendments to it.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, make a motion, well.
And then
we can do
notify
this.
them.
We can make a
So
motion,
how soon can
for
we look at the
discussion,
deed,
and
because
then-
tomorrow morning is when we wanted to
and
put
then,
all this
yeah,
stuff
with
in.
those amendments to it.
Today.
You were saying deed says that we're allowed
Oh,
to have,
tomorrow
you know, we can
It's
do
not
this.
May, right? May
Right,
first
we're
is the
meeting
day after
tomorrow
we
to
look at the deed,
finalize
because
the
tomorrow morning.
people
is
who are
when
in
we
charge
wanted
of each
to
one,
put
we're
all this
meeting,
stuff.
we can,
That May
we,
1st was
But
Thursday.
you were saying-
it's Thursday.
Oh, it's
Oh, okay.
Thursday. Oh, tomorrow,
But you were
It's
looking
not
to
May,
put it in
right?
for
May
the-
Right,
first is
we're
the
meeting
day after.
tomorrow to finalize. As soon as you guys say, the people who are ready to put them up, we can,
That May
we,
1st was
as soon as
Thursday.
you,
It's
if
Thursday.
you,
Yeah,
if you
okay.
approve our request,
But you were looking to put
We
it
will
in
put
for
'em up.
May first, or no, you just wanted to
as
meet?
soon as you guys say, we're ready to put them up.
Yeah,
So as soon as you,
Yeah,
if
we'll
you,
need it.
if you approve our request,
we'll need
So I'd like
We
to
will
make a
put 'em up.
motion that as long as the deed allows for signage in Union Meadows, that we allow this to go up.
Just you abstain.
So I'd like to make a motion that as long as the deed allows for signage in Union Meadows, that we allow this to go on.
Excuse myself from
this vote.
No
worries.
Lions Club and actually
All right.
it's conflict of interest.
Anybody else
Wanna
willing to
make
make
that
that
motion?
motion?
Excuse myself from
Yeah, you can make a
This
motion
vote.
for.
No worries.
For discussion to.
So, does anybody?
Anybody else
Wanna
willing to
make
make
that
that
motion?
motion?
Do we have discussion first?
Yeah, you can make a motion for, and open
Okay,
for
yeah.
discussion. So is there any more
Make a motion for
discussion
discussion.
about any questions or anything for Tom Daniels?
You have to second.
Allow the signs that were provided that
I'll second it.
allows
For
the
discussion.
Is there any more discussion about any questions or anything for Tom Daniels?
So I guess the
No,
only
it's just a motion.
The only question
No.
I'll
is like,
second it.
is it a like blanket, or are we gonna say, okay, let's go for a year, or just?
Yeah, so I would say that, it'd be this year.
So,
it goes.
yep.
No, it's just gonna come back to us
The
every
only
year.
question is, like,
We are in the
is it
same-
blanket, or are we gonna say, okay, let's
Because
go for a year?
we've never done this before.
If you
Yeah,
guys,
so
decide,
we went
I
from
would
doing,
say that, it'd
we
be
went,
this
the
year.
original thing
see how
was
it
we were
goes,
gonna do this
and
on
then
the
kinda
rail
come back
trail.
to us every year.
We are,
When you
that won't
say-
work because it's the state and it was way too complicated. We've never done this before.
If
And
you
then
guys
it
decide
evolved. We
to
went
do
from
six
doing,
locations,
we went, the original thing was we were gonna do this.
When you
on
did
the-
it was
we're-
the rail trail, how many pages is, when you?
That won't work because it's
Yeah.
the state and
didn't
it
do
was
the rail
way
trail.
too
Oh, we
hard.
did that?
So and then it evolved into 6
'Cause it was
locations.
there.
So at one point, this.
When you did it was the rail trail, how many pages?
Boy Scouts did one there.
Yeah,
We didn't do the
But
rail
without
trail.
permission
Oh,
from
we
the
did
state.
that
So
one.
it was torn, it was taken down.
'cause
At
it was
one-
there.
And so when I looked into, so we looked into putting it back, Boy Scouts did one there with the state, but without permission from the
Yeah.
state, and so it was torn, it was taken down.
yeah.
And so when I looked into, so we looked into putting it back there, there were
But
a
it meant
lot
there's
of
a lot of
regulations.
detail.
In terms of the number of, because I took all of the stands, whoever took them down, it's unclear whether that was the state, there were a lot of regulations. In terms of the number of, so I rescued them from the woods. I took all of the stands, whoever took them down, our park and rec director is aware that I have Boy Scouts, they were literally just thrown in the woods, so I rescued them from the woods, because we thought we could reuse them, and we still might. Our park and rec director is aware that I have them. I rescued just almost half of them, and I took them out of the woods, because we thought we could probably use them to about the same, and we still might. But, like, when you look at that sheet, I rescued almost half of them, 16 to 20. And so there were probably close to about the same number, about 20. Like, we really like that sheet, all those kids thought it was great, they're all about 16 to 20, turned out to be non-parental.
Did you guys try to put one at
All
Level
about the
Lake
same-
Beach?
Same length. No, but we really liked the one at the rail trail, we thought it was great, it just more space. We are putting the smallest space.
Did you guys try to
putting
put one
is
at Level Lake
park here
Beach?
Across the way, 'cause we're still working on they just yanked the first space. So we are putting, the smallest, we may put one on, really on just what fencing is left, and then across the way, once they get, we're still working on they just yanked the fence out. So we're trying to, we may put one on, really on just what fencing is left, and then once they get the rest of it done, we'll.
Especially when it's this type of thing.
Because it only takes one person to complain.
It was very, and before we even reached out to the state, we talked to the snowmobile club,
Especially
and
when
we
it's
talked
this
to
type of
the
thing.
Cotton Valley Rail
Because it only
Trail.
takes one person to complain.
And one of, it was very, and before we even reached out to the state, we talked to the snowmobile club, and we talked to the Cotton Valley Rail Trail, ex-conservation commission member, one other existing conservation, there's a member, is a
Trail maintainer?
trail maintainer, and it's you, somebody,
It's me.
and so we had talked to all these different groups, and then you were the other person that we were talking, is officially to get permission to do a trail maintainer, state info, and it's you.
It's me.
And so we had
Let's
talked
look
to
other
all these
places.
different Yeah, groups, it was- and then let's just go you were the other somewhere else. person that we were gonna have to talk to.
The story with
Get
that, I
permission to
believe,
do it, and then
and
when
I
we got
just
the state
recently
info, it was-
assumed the responsibility for
Let's
maintaining
look other
the trail.
places.
Yeah, it was, let's
Is
just go somewhere else.
state-owned project, state, the story with that, I believe, and I just recently assumed that the responsibility for maintaining that trail is state-owned project, state to the story, owns that property in the state.
It was basically done, it was done without permission.
Somebody else mentioned or not.
And like I said, to get permission, I got all that information, it was gonna be a lot of work, so we just decided, it was basically done, it was done without permission.
Done without permission, I think that it's
And like
it's
I said,
also
to get
a
permission,
snowmobile trail,
I
which is
got all
something
that
we need to watch
information,
out for with these
It's gonna be a
signs.
lot of work, so we just
Well,
decided.
well, we won't because
They
they'll
have
be,
machines going through there in the wintertime, and I think.
Right, but these will be
It's
out,
also a
Right,
snowmobile trail.
they'll be gone
I'm
by
not saying the ones that were on
October
the
16th.
the Cotton Valley Rail
Well,
Trail.
no, well, we won't, because.
They never said gone through there in the wintertime.
Right, but these will be.
They were a little bit more permanent. Right.
They'll be gone
Yeah,
by.
I'm saying the ones
You
that
guys
are
will be going down, you'll be
Cotton
checking
Valley
these
Rail
get
Trail.
damaged, you guys
That's
will
why
clean
it
it up.
Yeah, and they were said concrete as well.
But if we won't
Yes,
find any
yes.
stakes
I-
on
like
They
it.
were a little bit more permanent.
I have those in my yard right now.
So you guys will be going down, you'll be checking these get damaged, you guys will clean it up and fix
Have
it.
volunteered to
But
do
we
union
won't
metal.
find any
For each
stakes
one of
on it.
these sites, we have 2 people that have been assigned to each one of the sites. We have 2 very responsible, make sure there's no vandalism, that if they blow, fix it, have volunteered to do union metal. For each one of these sites, we have 2 people
Those
that have
2
been
people
assigned to
just
each one of the sites.
discovered
Keep an
union
eye on
meadows
it, make sure there's no
And
vandalism,
that,
if
well, I
they
mean,
blow,
also
fix
because we
them.
adopted the property, but
You know,
they're just so, they just are so in love with that. Those 2
property,
people
so
just discovered
They'll take very
union
good care
meadows
of it.
because of this. And they're, well, I mean, also because we adopted the property,
I
but
was unable to
they're
find the
just so,
deed in
they
the
just
file
are so in
here.
love with that.
I do have an electronic copy that was forwarded to me
That's a
by
very
a
good
former
care.
commission member, but it's in the house on my computer. So I was unable to find the deed in the file here. So I do have an electronic copy that was forwarded to me by a
Any
former
other
commission member.
questions,
But it's
concerns?
in the house. Can we take a vote on it on my computer?
We can move to take a vote. So
So I'll look at that tonight when I go home.
so we have a motion, questions, concerns, and we have a second
vote on it?
motion.
What's the
We
motion?
can move, to allow,
Well, it was to discuss this.
discuss it, yeah, it was a motion, so we have a motion, possibly. And we have the motion was to,
What's the motion?
to allow, to
Well, it was
move
to
on it,
discuss this.
discuss it, yeah, but then there was the motion to allow it? So
I
the
think the motion
discussion
was just a
to,
prompt discussion
Okay.
toward,
Yeah.
getting towards a vote.
to move on it. So but then there was a motion then, was the motion to allow it, to give
I
a
think the
discussion
motion was
of
just a
the right
prompt
to put the
discussion
signs down
toward
there
getting
till October
towards a
28th,
vote.
given that the deed allows for it. So do we have a motion that would say accept it, and so that to give Lions Club the right to put the signs down there until October 28th, given that the deed allows for it.
I'll make
I
a
would say
motion.
that the signs
As you
aren't,
just
and so
recited.
the books aren't woke either. So we have a motion to allow the Lions Club to put their storybook trail down there, given that the deed allows it.
I'll make the
I'll
motion
second that.
as you just
Alright, all in
recited.
favor?
Aye.
So we have a motion
And I
to allow the
recuse.
Lions Club to put their storybook trail down there, given that the deed allows it.
I'll second that.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
And I recuse.
I'll
So
object.
I will wait to hear from.
Yes, give us a week.
Do you want
Oh,
his,
no, no, tonight.
do you want his email so you can just
Yeah.
email him and let him
So I
know?
will wait to hear
Here.
from.
Yes, give us a week. You need
Or
a-
Josh, do you want to?
Just write down.
Right about, no, no, tonight.
Josh,
Do you want his email so you
wanna
can
be the
just
one to-
Yeah.
email
your
him
email.
and let him know?
or do you want-
Here,
Rick is the deed guy.
Okay, or do you
He's
want-
working on
Just
the
write down.
project.
Right
Yeah,
about
that's fine.
30
That's
days.
fine.
Okay. Do you want to be?
so
the
if
one
he, well, I mean, you could always just have him copy you, but not, and not the
Rick,
rest
Rick
of
is the
us.
deed guy.
Okay, but you
He's
want-
working on the project.
Sure.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
try to
fine,
do-
that's fine.
Okay.
He has it So if he, electronically,
Can I keep
well, I
this?
mean, you could always just have
Yep,
him
everybody
copy
can look at
you,
the
but
list.
not, not the rest of us.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take it home, take a picture.
I was not involved.
T. Daniels,
Huh?
PRP?
He has it
PRP.
You can't
electronically.
back out now.
No,
Hey.
we had other far more
I'm gonna take it
involved
home,
Lions
take a
Club
picture.
members choosing the books than
T.
me.
Daniels.
So
Whatever
Huh?
you want, PRP, I'll look
You
at it.
can't back out now.
No,
Hey.
we had other
Yeah, how come we couldn't
far
get
more
curious?
involved
Don't
Lions
copy
Club
everybody.
members choosing the books than me.
It's-
What I
it's
can
a
do more
meeting.
is I'll look at
No, he
it.
can blank copy.
Blank,
Send
you
an
know what
email
a
to him.
blind copy is?
Yeah, how come we couldn't?
Thank you all very much,
Don't
I
copy
appreciate it.
everybody.
And thanks for everything that you guys are doing.
It's a meeting.
No, he can blank copy.
Thanks for
Blank,
coming
you
in.
know what a blind copy
Good
is?
luck with the signs.
Thank you all very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for everything that you guys are doing as Conservation Commission.
I hope his name isn't
Thanks for coming
Josh.
in.
I take all the other signs out of there.
Sounds like a lot of work.
At least I know you guys, you're the only ones that have come to us to actually ask to put a sign down there.
I hope his name isn't Josh.
I take all the other signs out of
And I
there.
appreciate you.
At least I know you
discussing
guys,
that
you're the
then.
only ones that have come to us to actually
Could
ask to
have
put a
gone
sign
under
down
other
there.
business or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
I
it, thank you.
appreciate it. And I appreciate you discussing that then, because.
Yeah, so just
could
real
have
quick
gone
on the
under
adopted
other
thing,
business,
guys
yeah.
think about, and at the next
I
meeting, we'll
appreciate it.
determine something with Gage Hill. Because we're gonna need to adopt
Right,
that,
permit
because that's a huge
application.
area that people go. Yeah, so just real quick on the adopted thing, guys
Sure.
think about, and at the next meeting, we'll determine something with Gage Hill. Because we're gonna need to
So
adopt that.
can I ask you, how
because
often
that's a
was
huge
Paul
area that
walking
people go
the
to, so
trail?
Pretty often, I mean, he was retired and he was out there and.
So like once a
Paul, he
week?
did a lot of work. I'd say probably at least once a month.
So can I ask you, how often was Paul
Typically, when you
walking
do
the
the trail
trail?
maintenance.
Pretty often,
probably
I
three
mean, he
times
was
a year.
retired and
That's
he was
good,
up
that's a
there.
typical.
So like once a
He
week?
did it more.
I'd say probably when he was retired, I think he spent quite a bit of time
You
out
spend a
there.
lot of time.
I think he
Typically, when you
lived
do
there
the
as
trail
well.
maintenance.
There's quite a few
So
people
I'm saying I ran
that
into
go
him
up
at
there.
least
That's good, that's
There's
a
a little
Four
group
times.
of them.
He did
They
it
go
more.
up there, he's got, when he was retired, I think he spent quite a bit of time
You
out
spend a lot of
there.
time.
I think he lived there as well.
Right.
There's quite a few
So
people.
I'm saying I
who
ran
that
into
go
him
up
at
there.
least
We could. There's a
or
little
four
group
times.
of them. You can even mention that. They go up there, he's got a couple of buddies that might, you might wanna pass it off to or something like that, you know?
Right.
We
They're already doing it.
We could. Yeah, you can even mention that in the letter if you had anybody that might wanna pass it off to or something like that, you know? Some kind of fan, that kind of clowns, but theirs goes all the way to the, rail trail. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be Smith and, I don't know who's on the left.
Alright,
I can't think that field.
no applications right now.
But theirs goes all the way to the, rail trail. Prey Hill is a town forest, right? Not conservation.
Alright,
Yes.
Okay.
no applications right now.
And Prey Hill is a town forest, right?
Alright,
Not
moving on.
conservation.
Yes.
permit applications,
We can't adopt
reviews. I'm gonna make a motion to reject this, Alright,
permit
moving on.
and notify the state that we did not receive 4 copies.
Permit applications,
There's no way for us to
reviews.
all view
I'm gonna
them
make a
and
motion to
professional
reject
decision
this,
on accepting the permit. Permit and notify the
second?
state that we did not receive 4
Motion
copies.
doesn't
pass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we'll
discuss
discuss
it.
it, yeah,
we
we
can
can view them and make a
Is there
rational
electronic
decision
copies?
on accepting.
There is electronic copy and I can send it to you.
What we can do is table this to the next meeting. I'll pull back, the motion doesn't pass. And I'll
we
discuss
discuss
it,
it, yeah,
table this permit until everybody's
Is
had an
there
opportunity
electronic
to
copy?
review the electronic.
There is
copy.
electronic copy and I can send it to you.
What we can do is table this to the next meeting. I'll pull back my motion, and I'll make a motion to table this permit until everybody's had an opportunity to review the electronic copy. Yeah, so now that we're here, I was trying to look at what it says for where the clerk, signs off. Not that it's not the clerk, I'm just curious. Yeah, so now that we're here, I was trying to look at what it says for where the clerk, signs off, so there is not, so that I hereby certify the municipality has received 4 copies of the application. So that's the town clerk, so when this comes in, the town clerk signs for it and acknowledges, so that I'm gonna kick hereby certify the municipality. Pull my motion back again, 4 copies of the, and I'll make a motion to, so that's the town clerk, so when this comes in, the town clerk signs for it and acknowledges it, so I'm gonna kick it, I'll pull my motion back again. So as and I'll make a motion to table this, because it has to go to the town clerk. She needs to sign that she's received the copies before, and that we are asking for 4 copies. We haven't even acknowledged. Now, part of that is to notify the state on why we, so it has to go to the town clerk. So she needs to sign that she's received the copies, and that we are asking for 4 copies. So if we ever look at a permit, notify the state and we wanna table it or we wanna reject it. So I'll have to notify the state immediately within, because 14 days that, so if we ever look at a permit and we wanna table it or we wanna reject it, then we have to notify the state immediately. Any permit, within 14 days. We don't wanna accept the permit, it's not administratively complete. Of the reason. Anything like that, we have the right to reject it, notify the state, and we're doing an investigation, whether it's, any property, we feel something. We don't wanna accept the permit, it's not administratively complete. We're nothing like that, we have the right to reject it, notify the state, show that actual, we're doing an investigation, lay of the land, the property, we can reject that, we just have to notify the state, why we rejected it. We're not gonna accept those pictures, because they're not, show the actual, land, yes, we have 14 days to review this. We can reject that, we just have to notify the state of why we rejected it. They gotta be business. Or tabled it, or,
So we still, so we're gonna have 14 days at the next meeting.
that's it, yes, so I would table this for the next meeting, because the date on here is actually, well, they gotta be business, then we get your calendar out right now.
So we're gonna.
It looks like we received. That's what, yes, so I would table this for the next meeting, because the date on here is actually, well, let's see.
So you don't even have
Then we get
anybody
the
who
calendar out right
acknowledged
now.
receiving it,
It
though?
looks like we received
no,
this.
like,
The check is
timestamp on the-
signed
on the-
for 4/20, but that
So
doesn't.
then, if we never received it, we can't.
So you don't even have anybody who
state and say,
acknowledged
did you
receiving
say
it?
something
I thought you said somebody dropped it off today.
Yeah, they did, it was today, I got notified of it this
So
this
then,
afternoon when I
if we
came
never
down
received
here.
So the
Stuff
28th.
in. This wasn't even here yet, it wasn't even
did
to
you
us
say-
yet.
I thought you said somebody dropped it off
If we haven't
today.
received
Yeah,
it.
they did, it was today, I got notified of it this afternoon when I came down here.
So the
Stuff
28th,
in. This wasn't even here yet, it wasn't even to us yet.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
it
think-
looks like,
if we haven't
it was
received it at the town,
signatures,
we can't go to the state.
This is
and
just
say
from,
we're tabling something we never received. So I would say.
the owner on 4/26/25,
Yeah, it looks like, Nick on those on the 20th, we received it today, this is just from,
But didn't sign for it.
the owner.
So technically, we didn't even receive it.
In fact, right here, the certified mail is 4/28, Nick on those on the 20th. We received it today, just today.
So why don't we just kick it back to?
So we have 14 days
So
from
technically, we
today.
didn't even receive it.
In fact, right here, the certified
Yeah,
mail
so
is
we want table until the next
4/28,
I don't think we're technically tabling it to this
Today.
point, just because
So why don't
But
we?
we have,
it has to be
so
received
we
by
have
the
14
clerk.
days.
We
from
get it.
Yeah.
But
So
was
we
it
have,
not
signed?
tabling
we
it.
want table.
This
No,
is
no,
signed
this
by
is,
the
this
town,
I don't
isn't
think
it?
we're
this is
technically
a
tabling it at
butters
this point,
notice.
because
That's
Oh.
the
but it has to be
certification.
received by, what I'm saying is, that we technically, we shouldn't even be.
was
So
it
that's not
signed?
tabling it, because
This is
No, no,
signed
this
by
is
the
just-
town, isn't it?
this is, it hasn't gone through the
butters notice.
process.
Yeah, that's the
So we're not
certification.
tabling anything, we're kicking it back to the clerk to receive it. Technically, we shouldn't even be looking at that right now, because the clerk hasn't received it. Put it away, it hasn't gone through the process. So we're not
All right.
tabling anything, we're kicking it back to the
We have our
clerk to receive
financials
it.
today?
I did.
No, that's,
Put it away.
We have no financials because they're the same.
all right, okay.
Alright.
Do we have financials
So we're moving on
today?
from-
Alternative member, no, do we have any applications?
Yes, we have an application here for an alternate member. We have no financials because they're the same.
That's
Yeah, this is
Okay.
from Rose.
Do we have
So we're moving on from that.
alternative member, no, we don't have any applications?
Yes, we have an application here for an alternate member.
that Dot?
Yeah, they're popping up. Yeah, this is from Rose Cleveland.
Properties of.
She was in last meeting?
Yes. Yes, so she's done fundraising activities, recreational activities, handling animals, office administrative,
She was in the last meeting.
conservation, and preserving wildlife is important to me personally. I've done fundraising activities, recreational activities, handling animals, office administrative. You guys are more than welcome. Conservation, check that out. Wildlife is important to me personally. I guess I might ask her to be at the next meeting, so she can state her case and, we'll place a vote on it. I'm more than welcome to check that out. And then, I guess ask her to be at the next meeting so she can state her case and, we'll place a vote on it. I'll make a motion to table the application until the next meeting with discussion. So,
A second?
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'll make a motion to table
Encourage her.
the application until the next meeting with
Do we
discussion.
have a seat?
A second?
We do.
We have two alternates.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm not sure. Rob is still on as an alternate and
Oh,
then,
okay.
Dave Silcox is not anymore.
Do we have a seat?
He wants to be, so.
We do, we have
He's got a lot going on.
two alternates open, right?
I'm not sure, Rob is still on as an alternate, and
Oh,
then,
okay.
Dave Silcox is not anymore, and I don't think he wants to
Alright.
be, so. He's got a lot, all in favor of the table that? We kind of put that, aye, alright, so. We have no reviews, financials, donations, did we get our donation letter to the Lions Club, table that? Aye, alright, do we get our donation letter to the Lions Club?
I just circulated
Financials, donations,
all
did
today.
we get our donation letter to the Lions Club?
Just see it.
Do we get our donation letter to the Lions Club?
I just circulated them on
Me.
this,
I was
today, just for
All right.
people
It says
to
15,000, right?
see it. I'll email it tonight. I just wanted to make sure.
Well, do you wanna print it out
Me.
and
I was
sign it though? You can
It says 15,000, right?
Sign it.
Yeah,
I'll
okay,
put a
that's fine.
signature on it.
Fine, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll email it tonight.
Alright, anything else on alternate?
Well, do you wanna print it out and
Moving on. On the
sign it
Facebook
though?
page,
You can
we got
sign
a notification today that our Facebook page will be deleted.
Yeah, I think it's,
Alright,
Fake.
anything else on the alternate? I didn't respond back, moving on.
It's fake.
Facebook, I
It's a
did,
spam.
we got a,
Or
I did
a
notice on there
scam.
though that there was some correspondence
Yeah,
between
it's-
some
it's
people about campus.
fake.
Okay,
fake.
good. I didn't respond back.
It's
This
fake.
I
Was
did,
spam.
I
or
did
November.
notice on there
Scam.
though that there was some correspondence between some people
Last
about
November?
campus shifts.
The correspondence was,
It was
she was
November.
asking if she was on the list.
November.
Someone
Somebody
responded,
copied it.
yes,
Any more.
we have your application or something to that effect.
last November?
The
This was
correspondence
ages,
was,
like months
she was
ago,
asking if she was on the list.
I just wanted to make sure that if there's a
Someone
message on it,
responded,
it's being
yes,
directed to the right
we have
person.
your application or something to that effect.
Because I saw there was like.
This was ages, yeah, like months
Let's go to
ago.
the right person, because I didn't know if I just wanted to make sure that there's a message on there that's being directed to the right person. There was response in there, so we're responding back to the people. Like 3 days.
There's- I'm looking, okay.
Let's go to the right person, because I didn't know if it's just gonna fall by the wayside or what, but there was
No
response in
outdoor
there, so we're
advertising
responding back to
shall
the
be
people.
displayed on the property except as desirable or necessary We do have an answer on in the this. accomplishment of the agricultural, forestry. No outdoor advertising structure shall be displayed on the property except non-commercial or necessary recreational uses in the accomplishment of the agricultural, forestry, provided such structures are not detrimental to the purposes of this easement. Non-commercial outdoor. No sign on the recreational uses of the 12 square feet in size. Provided such structures are not detrimental to the purposes of this easement.
So as long as you don't
That's
light
all
them
it
up
says
or make
about
them
sign. No
huge.
sign on the
So it can be a
Because they're
6
not
by
gonna-
6 sign.
feet in size. And no sign shall be artificially illuminated.
Well,
No,
No, no.
so as long as you don't
12
light them up or make them
12
huge.
square.
That's,
so it can be a 6 by 6 sign, which is,
those maps
Okay, not that.
are like,
they are.
well, they might be a little bit more than
No,
12.
no, no,
12,
no.
they're
12
12 square
feet,
feet.
12 feet.
That's,
Which is,
those maps essentially are like 12 of these together. They might be a little bit more than 12 square feet,
well,
but
no,
they're,
so that would be, what,
Is it
That
an
would be 12
aggregate
by
or
these.
individual?
wouldn't,
you're talking,
This is,
essentially,
no
you're talking a
outdoor
3 foot,
6
a
inches
3 foot,
feet.
a 3 foot by a 4 foot sign
Okay,
is
well,
12
they're
square
not
feet.
No
3 by
sign,
4. They're
singular.
not
Is it
3
an
by
aggregate
4.
or
They're
individual?
less than that.
wouldn't,
You're
This
talking,
is,
you're
no
You're
outdoor
talking a
talking
3 foot,
6
a 3
inches
foot, they're not even
Not
2
even,
by,
they're
they're,
probably
they're,
one
they're,
and a half.
they're,
sign.
they're like
By
a,
They're
singular.
not 3 by 4.
they're a foot and a half
that
by,
They're less than
includes the box, I think, right?
they're not even
Not
2.
even, they're
They're,
probably
they're,
one
they're,
by
It would have to be a
they're
2
like
by
a,
6 sign.
they're a foot and a half by.
That includes, I don't think anybody's gonna go out there with a
box.
measuring tape, right?
So I think the signs are allowed.
It sounds like the signs are allowed.
I read it word for word.
Alright, we don't have
I
to.
can't interpret
I
it.
don't think anybody's gonna go out there with. Anything else on the Facebook page?
So I think the signs are allowed.
No, it's
It sounds
actually
like the
starting to
signs
grow
are
again.
allowed. Awesome, alright.
Well, you know, I think the plastic
Anything else on the
being
Facebook page?
touted on there,
No, it's
the
actually
fact that
starting
we're
to
doing
grow
this
again.
plastic initiative has pulled a lot of people in there. You know, I can't tell you how much. Plastic being.
No, I think you guys are all doing a great job. I know that, I'd like to thank Alan as well. He's been a real good champion out there with a lot of different, with the plastic and everything. No, I think you guys are all doing a great job. I know that, I'd like to thank Alan as well. He's been a real good champion out
No,
there
you
with
can't use
a
it.
lot of different, with
It's-
the
I
plastic
called
and everything.
trucks and
So,
they-
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody.
Because it's exposed to the elements, it's,
The UV
Couldn't
No,
do
you
it.
breaks
can't
down,
use it.
that makes sense.
so if it, you know, like Tom
trucks and they-
Daniels had some that he,
Because it's exposed to
didn't
the
use,
elements.
it was in his garage, so
The
he
UV
gave me
light
that.
breaks it down,
Not
that makes
but I have to
sense.
take
So
it
if
out
it-
the spool.
You know, like
So you had 200
Tom
pounds.
Daniels had
I
some
had
that he
225
Now you have,
pounds.
it's slowing down.
didn't
Well,
use,
actually,
it
no,
was in
just
his
a couple of
garage,
weeks ago,
so
you
he
had
gave me
200,
that and I
so
can,
it's good.
but I have to
I
take
had
it out the spool.
186.
So you had 200 pounds.
Now I have
I had 225
Now you
And I have
it's slowing
4
down.
bags that
Well,
we
actually,
got
no, it
back
was just a
at the
couple of
house
weeks
today.
ago, you had 200, so it's good.
I do have
I had
some
186
lions
from
That's a lot of
from
bags.
now I have 226.
You think
And
about
I
it,
have
I mean, a bag is
4
less than
bags
an
that we
ounce.
got back at my house today. That's a lot of bags.
It's a lot of
I do
bags.
have some lions
That's a
ferns
lot
that
of
were picking
bags.
up from the.
So,
If you think about it, I mean, a
Well,
bag is
I'll
less
talk
than
to you
an
guys
ounce.
about it next meeting, because
That's
I
a
don't.
lot of
It's a
bags.
lot of
It
bags.
is. Trex has a different program, once we get to 1,000
So-
pounds and we earn our.
No, well, I'll talk to
bench.
you guys about it
They have
next
another
meeting, because
program.
I don't have the
I mean, cause
paperwork
I
with me,
can't
but
see us
Trex has a
saying,
different program.
okay,
Once
we've got
we get to
1,000, you guys
pounds
can
and
just
we
throw
earn
your
our-
your plastic bags away now, we don't need them
They have another
anymore.
program, I mean, cause
But
I
what they are
can't
trying to
see
do is get
us saying,
this
okay, we got our
process.
1,000, you guys can just throw your
Not
trash,
just
you know,
at the
your
grocery
plastic
stores,
bags
but
away
other
now, we don't need them
places.
anymore.
So they would be willing to set us
But
up.
what they are
so
trying to
that
do
we
is
could
get,
have
this process,
pound
not just at the
40
grocery
something
stores, but
container,
other
40
places.
barrel.
So they would be willing to
Whatever.
set us up, so that we could
And they
have
would
a
take it,
40
you know, they'd come and
pound
get it,
container, I
and
mean, 40
replace
something
it and
container, I don't,
40 foot.
barrel.
we would be the one that
whatever.
would be receiving this now.
And they
Instead
would,
of, I mean, it
take
would
it,
still be the
you know,
transfer
they'd come
station,
and
and
get it,
maybe
and
we
they
could even put it at
place
the
it,
transfer
and
we
station.
could create a long-standing
Right.
we would be the
Right,
one that would be
is what I'm
receiving
saying,
this
and
now.
you know, maybe
And instead of,
get
I mean, it
other
would still be the
people
transfer
in the
station,
town
and
involved
maybe we
as
could
well.
even put it
I
at the
mean,
transfer
we could
assume
create a
we get
long-standing
charged
Right.
program.
Right, is what I'm
as
saying,
a
and,
town
you know,
for the
maybe
waste
get
that's
other
coming out of
people
there, so.
in the town involved as
I
well.
mean, to reduce the amount of waste we get and have it go to a company that's taking it and not charging us.
Well,
and
and
for the
what
waste
would happen is you
that's coming out of
pay
there,
for
so-
the
I mean, to reduce the amount of waste
Thing,
and have it
whatever
go
it's-
to a
whatever
company
it
that's
is.
rebates and
and
not
and then they
charging
give you
us.
rebates,
Well,
right?
and what
so
would
it's
happen is
once
you
hit
pay
1,000,
for
another, if we hit another 1,000 pounds, that would
thing,
be,
whatever
that would pay for
whatever it
that, and
is.
then everything else, the
And,
rebates
and
would
then they
be-
give you rebates, right, and so it's,
I think it's big to
once
get
you hit
blessed with that
1,000,
plan.
another,
Yeah.
if we hit another 1,000
I
pounds,
think it's definitely
that would
worth the
be,
one
that would pay
stand
for that, and then everything else, the rebates
So
would
yeah,
be.
once we've got the bench, I definitely,
I think it's big to get the plastic
Love to
out
see
of
more.
landfills.
Yeah.
So, I think it's, grants, anything on grants, we get the Lions Club grant in.
so yeah,
That's
once we
about it.
get the bench, I definitely would love to see more.
You know, it's tough to write grants as grants, conservation on grants, we get the Lions Club grant in, cause financial wise, we have to pull like the whole town's financials. So it gets a little tricky. You know, it's tough to write grants, we can start the Conservation Commission in the town. Cause financial wise, we have to pull like the whole town's financials. So it gets a little tricky. We have a volunteer page. I think that we're all, we can start to get that right now, I don't think. Someday. Alright, volunteers, campusship workshop, we have our volunteer page, everything's good. We're now building that account for next year. Someday. And then, moves on to campusship updates, wetlands, campusship is closed, or anything. We're now building that account for next year. Alright. Site walks and monitoring, we're good. We're gonna have to identify vulnerable wetlands. Anybody saw
Yeah, if
anything?
somebody wants to volunteer to do, Lorian,
Site walks and monitoring, we're good.
or Hutchins Farm.
I will definitely do Hutchins.
You do Hutchins, okay, yeah, if somebody wants to volunteer, let me know when you wanna do it, I'll give you a packet. Lorian, with the
Oh.
forms and all, or Hutchins Farm.
I will definitely do Hutchins.
You do Hutchins, okay.
Schedule us right out.
Let me know when you wanna do it, I'll give you a packet. I'd rather see volunteer, go out
I-
at leisure.
You wanna
Depending
send
on what
schedule?
happens on another aspect of my life, I may volunteer for
I'd rather people
Helping out
volunteer,
volunteers.
go out
I-
at leisure,
I-
for whoever wants
Depending
to
on
do
what
it,
happens
to do
on
it at their
on
leisure,
another
whenever they want to do it.
aspect of my life, I may volunteer for like
You'll do the other one?
helping out with all of them.
My preference is, I'll put together whoever wants
Yeah.
to do it, to do it at their leisure, whenever they want to do it.
We just want 2 people out there.
You're talking about lavender?
Yeah,
You'll do lavender?
I'll do lavender, yeah. You
We'll
do
I'll
lavender?
put together
Yeah,
packages.
I volunteer for monitoring. And anybody that's volunteering for
You're talking
monitoring,
about lavender?
I'll do
Josh
lavender.
will.
You
We'll do lavender.
do lavender? Yeah, I volunteer for
All right,
monitoring.
I'll put together packages.
Anybody that's volunteering for
There's
monitoring.
more, but that's all,
So-
let Josh know, Josh will go with
You had said that they need to be done by December, right?
By January, I'll put together
By
packages.
January of next year, so it's not,
There's more,
we
but
just did it.
that's all.
So
But maybe not go out there
you
during
had said
hunting
that they
season.
need to be done by December.
Yeah, exactly.
By January of
Yeah,
next
Hutchins
By
was kinda
January of
cold
next
last
year,
year.
so
when we
it's
did-
not,
Well, we were out
We
there, we
just
had to
did it.
wear, fluorescent, maybe not go out there during hunting season.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But the advantage of that time of year is you can see there's a leaf.
Well, we were out there, we had to wear, fluorescent because.
That's my
well, or right now, because the leaves aren't
Well,
on the trees.
Right now, it's
But the advantage of that time of year is you can see, right now it's black fly season.
Right, and it's also
You guys
cooler
go
right
ahead
now
and go out, I'm not
because the leaves aren't
Well,
on the trees. I
right
mean,
now it's turkey season,
Yeah,
Right now it's black fly season.
whenever you're available.
right, and it's
So
also,
if you're not gonna go ahead and go out, I'm not gonna, I don't know
Well,
what
I mean,
the situation is.
yeah.
Fall, from my opinion, is the best time to go because the leaves are.
Whenever you're
You can
available.
actually see what's going on. If you're not concerned with otherwise, you can't hunters in there, and I don't know what the hunting situation is. The fall, from my opinion. The bugs are gone and because the leaves are off the trees and you actually see what's going on. Otherwise, you can't see the, but it's up to you. And the bugs are gone and we'll put together a package with the deed, inspection report, and any surveys I can pull out. Same with you.
Yeah, Hutchins is
I'll put together a package with the deed, tank inspection report, and any surveys.
Houses for the conservation easements.
He's gonna start working on them,
He did
after
it.
vacation, which is next Monday.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna put some information down here.
Bat houses for the conservation easements.
He's gonna start working on them, after vacation, which is, anyway, he's got,
And I'm just gonna put some
money
information
for
down here when you do
the
the minutes, so that you.
nails and the paint, so he
There's
will,
some that's not
take
under
care of it.
recording that.
when he gives me the receipts, I'll bring him.
Anyway,
He's got,
But I just,
money for the nails.
But that was
and
the
paint,
kind of
so
goal,
he
was that
will
we were gonna paint them.
take care of it. Don't you need to,
When
don't
he
you want
gives me
them
the
black?
receipts, I'll bring them in.
I was always
Okay.
under the impression that you needed black, so that.
You don't have to have them black, but
They need to
that
be
was the
black.
kind of goal, was that we were gonna paint them.
Don't you need to, don't you
trying
want
to
them
think of
black?
what,
I was always under the impression that you needed black, so that.
You don't have to have them black,
I've
but
seen too
is
many
it stained though, on the outside?
No, it's just got burned.
I'm trying to think of what, okay.
When I got my house,
Well, he'll need to,
I've not seen too
is
many
it
paintings.
stained though, on the outside?
no. it's
But
just
yeah, I
got
can't
burned
remember
with
if,
the batter.
Scott does, if he paints his, I can't.
Well,
He'll need to screw his paint in my head, you know.
Right.
All the ones I've seen doing the
Yeah, I
backwork
can't
that I do,
remember if,
I've never seen
Scott
a
does,
painted one.
he paints his, I can't.
Well, if you don't want them to paint them, then I
But I
won't
can't
tell
see
them
if
not to
there's
paint them,
paint
and
in
it'll
my
take
head,
5
you know.
minutes, and they'll
All the
Yeah.
ones I've
nail them all
seen.
their
Yeah,
screw
you
them
wanna
all
look
together.
in to see if any are actually painted? Yeah.
I'm sure they're not,
Well,
because
if
he
you want them
did,
to paint them, then I
he
won't
did
tell
his,
them not to paint them, and
he
it'll
had
take
them
5
do
minutes, and they'll
Yeah,
toolbox,
maybe-
all their
yeah,
screw
you
them all
wanna look
together.
in to see if any
For
are
this
actually
session, he was
painted?
coming back and doing the back. I'm sure they're not, because
Yeah.
he did,
And we have
he
plenty
did
of.
his, he
I know,
had
you
them
keep
do
telling me
the, toolbox first,
Okay.
and then for this session, he was coming
Any
back.
public
and doing
comment?
the boxes.
Oh, the TV's not on. And we have plenty of.
What about owl?
I know, you keep telling me that.
No, man. We have, I don't know if you realize it, but we have an overabundance of barn owls right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah, that's all you hear at
absurd.
night.
It's,
You know
no,
the TV's
it's
not.
ridiculous. We have, I don't know if you realize,
Barn.
we have an
B-A-R-N.
overabundance
They're
of barn
barn.
owls.
Birds.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's all you hear at night. You go,
It's ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I don't,
yes, barn.
and I don't know if
B-A-R-N.
that houses up, they're barns, more
Barn.
steel chickens.
Well, no,
Barn. As a homesteader, I would think that you don't like the
Yeah,
barn.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty
Well, no,
good.
'cause
And
my
I don't,
chickens are indoors at
and
night.
I don't know if when I tell you my neighbors is disappearing on nightly vision, I hear
Well, no,
them crying out. As a homesteader, I would think that you don't like the
I
boxes.
I've actually, well, no, cause my chickens are indoors at night.
When I tell you my neighbors is disappearing on night every time, I hear them crying.
Fox, but
I have
never
a-
an owl.
I had a
in
friend
the
that
box.
grabbed the eagle.
I've actually never lost a chicken.
Literally grabbed it.
My turkey grabbed
Eagles.
eagles, fox, bobcat,
Everything.
coyotes, fox, but
I have
never an
I
owl.
had a friend that grabbed the eagle. Literally grabbed it.
My turkey grabbed the eagle. You can try
I
to
would
turn it
just
on
like
and
to
That's
it's
fine, that's fine.
I would just like us to say thank you to Michelle for all of
Alright,
her
when it's at the TV, I don't know if we have
service,
anybody
the
on.
person who's doing the filming.
You
So
can try
I
to
would
turn it
just
on
like,
and
That's
it's
fine, that's fine.
I would just like us to say
Because
thank
she
you to
does the
Michelle
filming
for
for us.
all
I
of
think
her
that's great.
Get paid to do it.
service, the
I-
person
I-
who's doing
I-
the filming.
Do you
I
think
get-
your employees that get paid to do work for you?
When they get
Because she
paid?
does the filming for
Huh?
us, I
But
think
they
that's
just
great.
get
But
paid.
when they leave, do you say thank you for all your hard work?
They do a good job.
Do you think your
Yeah,
employees
she's done a great
that
job.
get paid to do work for you?
When they get
If they
paid.
leave?
There.
Huh?
Look, I have
You can
14
say
different
thank you.
But when
hats,
they leave,
okay?
do you
I
say
have
thank you for all your hard work?
They do a good job.
Yeah,
Board,
she's done a great job.
I'm flying, I'm
That's why you
here.
should learn to abstain from those.
Look, I have
You can
14
say
different
thank you.
hats, okay? I have,
Before we
I'm on the
wrap up,
Yes,
what's
sir.
our schedule to
Board,
award the-
I'm
before we-
flying,
before
I'm
we-
That's why you
here.
should learn to abstain from those things.
What's our schedule for that?
At next
Before we
meeting, we'll go into non-public.
What's our
discuss that
schedule
project.
to award the?
Because it came in significantly higher. I do this work for a living and know
What's
what
our
the
schedule
cost
for
of
the
everything is.
next meeting?
At next meeting, we'll go into non-public to discuss compared to what the actual cost of that is. It came in significantly higher. I do this work for a living and know what the cost of everything is there as well, so it came in significantly high compared to what
And
the
we need to
actual
have
cost
Pride
of
Day
that
on the
actually is. I
agenda
appreciate
for
you
next
guys.
meeting.
Oh, yes, so Pride Day,
We have a table, but,
and I will go pick up the shrubs are ready at the nursery, so I will
and
go
we
pick
need to have
those up
Pride
next
Day
week.
on
So I don't
the
have to
agenda
hold
for
them.
next meeting.
Oh,
too.
yes, so Pride Day,
We have a table, but
and I will go pick up the shrubs are ready at the nursery, so I will go pick those up next week. It's South Conklin for the. It's alright, I wanna go out there, I like the nursery. Muscogin, is that how you say it? No, cause you know what, they would've met me somewhere in Belknap County with them, and I was like, jeez, I'll just drive down there. It's alright, because I don't mind, I wanna see what the state nursery looks like anyways. No, cause you know what, they would've met me somewhere in Belknap County with them, and I was like, jeez. We will have everything there, and, you know, because I don't mind, I wanna see what for the next meeting, think it's a raffle or anything that we might wanna do.
Next meeting
Do you
is
need a
May
table?
12th.
Yes. Yes, we need, so we will have everything there, and, you know, if we, yeah,
Can't-
definitely can, the next meeting, think if this is a raffle or anything that we might wanna do.
Paper towels.
do you need a table?
And then, yes, we need a table, and we need a,
Canopy.
80 canopies as well.
Actually, you can get them at Lowe's for like, and some paper towels and a bucket of water.
I can't, and then we only need 4, 10 by 10 or something, I mean, it's so big, I don't know, $80.
We ordered the 10 by 10s, especially you can get them at Lowe's for like 70, 80 bucks.
Alright, well, I have a canopy.
I
Can I
can't,
say
yeah,
this?
we only
I
need
have a
like
connection at
a
Lowe's.
10 by 10 or something. I
So
mean,
that's
just-
it.
if you
And
count
May
them,
first,
We ordered the
May
10 by
first
10
there's,
for work all the time, so.
Yeah.
So let
All
me
right, well, I
price
have
out
a-
the 10x10.
Can I
Yes.
say
Canopy
this?
for
I have a
you?
connection at
And do we
Lowe's.
wanna buy a
Okay.
table, or do we
let's
wanna
get-
just,
If you-
May first, there's.
If we have a table we can borrow, but we'll buy a
So let
canopy
me
if we need to.
price out
Because
the
it's gonna
10 by
be something
10
that stays in
canopy for you?
conservation.
Right, and do we wanna buy a table, or do we wanna just, I have a table. we
At a
can-
Conex box, yeah, the highway department, I hear there's one already over there, we might be able to get some room in.
Right. Right, and
We, if we have to store it at the resource Conex box, at the highway department, like medical beds. I hear there's one already over there, so we might be able to get some room in. I will find a home for it.
I'm
we-
recusing
if we
myself
have to
from
store
any
it
of this
at the resource
conversation.
It's a small
Alright.
parcel, not
Okay.
like medical beds and
Paper
other
towels, and what
things.
else was the other thing you said?
I will find a home for it.
Container for
I'm
water.
recusing myself from any of this
We're not always
conversation.
this year.
Alright.
Okay, paper towels, and what else was the other thing you said? Do we have a,
Like an actual
source of water?
container for water. so
like
that-
here?
Yeah,
If we're not near the
I'll bring a
hose,
bucket.
well,
What do you
I was
need?
gonna bring some
I'll
jugs.
bring
We're gonna be in the same
it's just,
location?
yes, we're in the same
Yeah,
location.
we're
We
right there,
have
yeah,
a,
this goes right there.
Yes,
source
there's
of
a hose
water?
right there.
All
Right
right,
here, do you just,
And
all right,
then-
you
and
have a
then we'll
bucket,
set up
Well,
what do you?
I was gonna bring some jugs
We're
with
gonna
me.
be in the
And
same
just
location?
before- Yes, we're in the same
Yeah,
location.
we're
I
right there,
guess
yeah, this goes right
in
there.
the beginning of
Okay.
April or the end of March, we should have
right.
nominated. And then we'll set up a schedule as well, so next meeting. And just before we go today, I guess in the
Does the
beginning of
selectmen have
April
to
or the end of March, we
reappoint
should
us?
have renominated the board.
once the
So,
election happens?
no, I think it's just something that we do
Oh.
every
Chair.
election, every election time,
Does the selectmen have to
re-vote for the board.
reappoint us?
Not for the board, and
Once
particularly
the
for
composition
the
happens.
composition of, yes, so chair and vice chair. Every election time, you re-vote for the board.
Do that now?
Yeah, we can do that, board and particularly for the composition of, it, yes, so chair and vice chair. I don't mind being the chair still, so,
I make a
Permanent
motion to
position, Josh.
nominate.
yeah, we can do that now.
Chair.
I second it.
I don't mind being the chair still, so.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to nominate.
I make a
Permanent
motion
position,
to
Josh.
nominate Josh,
I'll second it.
chair.
Okay, all in favor?
Second.
Aye. But you know, you can say no.
I'll abstain. I would think Rick would be a much better.
He's,
vice
you
chair.
know, he's doing his thing over here, we all in favor? He's busy, but you know, he can
He's a
say
technical
no.
guy.
Yeah, he is the one
I
that.
would think Rick would be a much better.
He's,
vice
you
chair.
know, he's doing his
Alright, we don't
thing
wanna
over
scare
here.
him.
He's got, this is a real
He's a
big
technical
project,
guy.
you know, he's been involved in it for quite some time.
And
so
Rick is a great resource for us.
Alright.
We wanna make sure he
Okay.
sees it, he's doing a great
Alright,
job.
we don't wanna scare him away.
You're
He's
alright.
got a real big project. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting
Okay,
until
well,
May.
Can I just say,
We wanna make sure he sees
can
it.
we make a motion
Yeah.
to purchase a
All right.
canopy?
So,
A canopy
we have a motion
not
to
more than
adjourn the
$80.
meeting
Okay,
until
well,
May.
can-
Oh, yep.
Can I just say,
Well, I
or
don't
would
know
you
how
rather
much it's
see,
gonna
can we
cost
make a
us.
motion to purchase a
If I say
canopy?
$80,
canopy
you're gonna go find
for
one.
not
that's,
more than
you know, at a
$80?
Sale or something, you know.
I could find one.
Well,
Or would you
I'll
rather
make
see
it- I'll
not
make
more
it-
than $80?
All right, I'll make a motion, if I say $80, canopy, you gotta go find one, figure it out, at a sale or something, get a second.
I could
All
find
in
one.
favor?
Aye.
Not-
Okay, I'll
not
make
more
a-
than $80.
All right, make a motion to adjourn the meeting till May 12th. Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you guys, sorry. All in favor? Aye, okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting till May 12th.
I will second.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you guys, sorry. I thought we'd be at like 15.